What if heaven and hell aren't distant places, but states of mind you create every day? This video reveals how psychology, faith, and modern life intertwine to show that peace or turmoil begins within you. Watch to discover why this perspective could change how you live right now. Welcome to Cosmic Axis. In today's video, we'll explore a thought-provoking idea. What if heaven and hell are not distant realms, but psychological states we carry within ourselves? This perspective blends psychology, faith, and modern life in a way that's both eye-opening and practical. If you find these insights meaningful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Cosmic Axis so you never miss out on more deep and inspiring discussions. In many religious traditions across American society, heaven and hell have long been understood as literal destinations, one promising eternal reward and the other eternal punishment. This view shaped not only personal beliefs, but also the cultural fabric, influencing how people live their daily lives. For centuries, sermons emphasized the fear of hell and the hope of heaven as moral compasses, guiding individuals toward ethical conduct. Even today, many still draw comfort or caution from this framework. Psychologists, however, point out that such imagery reflects deeper human needs. Carl Jung suggested that symbols of heaven and hell often mirror the unconscious struggle between light and shadow within the human psyche. When people imagine heaven, they often describe peace, love, and security, the same states they long for in their relationships and communities. Similarly, visions of hell resonate with the experience of despair, isolation, and guilt that are part of human suffering. In a modern context, where fewer Americans may take the literal descriptions as physical realities, the underlying moral and emotional weight remains powerful. The idea of ultimate reward or punishment still acts as a metaphor for how choices, behaviors, and values shape both inner experience and collective life. From a psychological perspective, heaven and hell can be seen less as distant realms, but more as states of mind that shape our daily existence. Inner peace, often described as a personal heaven, emerges when individuals cultivate mindfulness, forgiveness, and a sense of purpose. Contemporary American psychologists like Abraham Maslow emphasize that self-actualization, reaching one's fullest potential, brings a deep contentment that mirrors the spiritual imagery of paradise. On the other hand, in a turmoil, anxiety and chronic guilt resemble the experience of hell, trapping people in cycles of fear and unrest. In modern America, where conversations about mental health have become central, many see the metaphors of heaven and hell as reflections of psychological well-being rather than fixed destinations. Religious leaders, too, sometimes frame these ideas in the terms of the heart's condition, teaching that anger, envy, or resentment can create a personal hell, while gratitude and compassion generate a taste of heaven even in this world. Socially, this shift aligns with the broader cultural trend of seeking meaning within personal experience rather than solely through external authority. Thus, the boundary between spiritual belief and psychological insight becomes less about division and more about understanding how our inner world defines the quality of life we live. In recent decades, American society has increasingly explored the intersection of mental health and spiritual experience, recognizing that the two are not always in conflict, but can, in fact, complement one another. Scientific research shows that practices such as prayer, meditation, and communal worship can lower stress levels, improve emotional regulation, and even enhance resilience during times of crisis. Psychologist William James argued that spiritual experiences often represent profound psychological states that reshape how individuals perceive meaning and purpose. For many, attending church or practicing mindfulness offers a framework for coping with depression and anxiety and loss, creating a bridge between inner healing and faith. At the same time, modern psychiatry emphasizes the importance of grounding spirituality in healthy practices, cautioning against using guilt or fear-based religious ideas in ways that can harm mental well-being. In multicultural American communities, this balance is evident in the way people seek therapy while still drawing strength from religious traditions. The result is neither pure science nor pure faith, but a synthesis where psychological care acknowledges the role of spirituality and spiritual life embraces the insights of psychology, creating a more holistic path towards well-being and a deeper sense of inner harmony. As American society evolves, there has been a noticeable cultural shift from viewing heaven and hell as purely external places to understanding them as reflections of internal realities. This transformation is partly influenced by the growing emphasis on personal autonomy and psychological awareness. Younger generations, raised in an era of therapy culture and mindfulness practices, often interpret spiritual teachings through the lens of inner well-being, rather than distant judgment. Psychologists such as Viktor Frankl highlighted that meaning is not imposed from the outside, but discovered within, suggesting that our inner orientation shapes whether life feels heavenly or hellish. In modern communities, people frequently turn to spiritual symbols not for literal descriptions, but for guidance on managing emotions, relationships, and life choices. Religious leaders, too, increasingly encourage believers to see faith as a journey of the heart, where forgiveness, kindness, and resilience are as significant as doctrinal adherence. This does not mean abandoning traditional belief, but reframing it in a way that resonates with contemporary life, where mental health, social justice, and personal authenticity are highly valued. In this cultural landscape, the concepts of heaven and hell are no longer distant threats or promises, but mirrors of how individuals create meaning within their everyday existence. In the realities of modern American life, the question of heaven and hell is often less about distant outcomes and more about the choices people make each day that shape their inner and outer worlds. When individuals choose compassion over resentment, gratitude over entitlement, and forgiveness over bitterness, they create within themselves an atmosphere that reflects the peace and fulfillment traditionally associated with heaven. Conversely, when anger, envy, or unchecked ambition dominate, life can feel like a personal hell, regardless of external success or comfort. Psychologists such as Martin Seligman, a pioneer of positive psychology, emphasize that well-being is not accidental but cultivated through intentional habits such as nurturing optimism, practicing kindness, and building strong social bonds. Religious voices in America echo this wisdom by teaching that the state of one's heart determines the quality of one's life, urging people to focus on how their inner world influences their relationships and communities. In a society where freedom and responsibility walk hand in hand, the power to shape heaven or hell lies not in distant promises, but in present decisions. Every moment becomes a chance to tilt life toward hope, meaning, and harmony, rather than despair and conflict. Thank you for watching this video, and if these reflections added value to your understanding, we invite you to like the video and subscribe to the channel so that together we can continue exploring ideas that inspire a more thoughtful and purposeful life.